An employer that invests in the training of his staff will ultimately enjoy the benefit of having a well-trained workforce and increased productivity. Similarly, a well-trained employee with requisite skills will always enjoy the benefits of sustained gainful employment. Nigeria had been experiencing a dearth of skilled workers, especially artisans and industrial workers, since independence in 1960. In order to overcome this problem, Industrial Training Fund ITF was established in 1971 as a specialist agency that promotes and encourages acquisition of industrial and commercial skills required for national economic development. To meet its responsibilities, a statutory contribution of 1% of annual payroll of liable employers and subvention from the federal government were prescribed as sources of ITF's funding. Whilst employers have continued to make their subvention from the federal government has not been released since 2001. The Industrial Training Fund has, however, grown to become Nigeria's foremost training institution.
The oil and gas industry requires welders, but these welders are nowhere to be found. So we must produce welders. As at now, we import them from Ghana and from our small brother Benin Republic. You know, we are supposed to have these people in high numbers, but they are not there.
A couple of years back, ITF and NECA conducted the manpower need of this economy. And the outcome of that exercise is quite shocking in terms of the scarcity of the technical manpower which we have. Without giving consideration to the Vision 2020 plan of government, looking things as they were then, about 2 or 3 years ago. And if you are to project that into year 2020, then we should be asking ourselves, how are we going to address this scourge of technical deficiency of our manpower? So the situation really is quite critical, right, in terms of availability of technical manpower to drive our developmental objectives.
Despite the multi-training approach to skills provision, organizations in Nigeria have continued to complain about skills gap in meeting their manpower requirements. This is due to the shift from colonial employment to the employment needs of the independent government from 1960. ITF has since inception been challenged to provide a world-class dynamic, need-based and quality-driven intervention for industrial skills training in Nigeria.
My vision immediately on taking over was to refocus the fund from an institution that was basically concerned with the training in the area of supervisory management to an institution that is focused on the provision of vocational and technical education for industry and commerce.
ITF as a human development agency has sat down, carried out research, and discovered that she has already trained a vast pool of human capital, particularly in management courses. But she has also discovered that most developed nations today use technical vocational skills as the catalyst for their development. And so ITF needed to see a shift, and particularly the collaborations she carried out with nations like Singapore, like Brazil, like China, we discovered that there was need for people to have skills acquisition.
To tackle the paucity of skills, ITF has developed and implemented tailor-made training programs to address specific skills gap in the economy. ITF also introduced the Students' Industrial Work Experience Scheme, SIWES, through which students of tertiary institutions are exposed to the world of work before graduation. Despite these programs, organizations have continued to complain of skills gap in employees, both at entry point and in service, especially engineering and technical skills. ITF established the Industrial Training Development Department to upgrade skills of employees. This has led to the establishment of 3 Industrial Skills Training Centers, ISTCs.
The ITF has 3 functional industrial skills training centers. One in Ikeja, Lagos. The second one is in ISTC Kano. And the third one is here in Jos, under the Center for Excellence. But there are others that are also under construction, like the one in Lokoja. And also ITF is intending to establish additional 15 industrial skills training centers in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
The Industrial Skills Training Center, Lagos, offers 1-day to 14 weeks short-term skills upgrading broadening program and a 2-year diploma program in 6 selected trade areas, including welding and fabrication, electrical, electronics, and computer engineering.
During my training year, we have 3 phases. The first phase we based on 70% theory, while 30% practical. The second phase we based on 30% theory. And the last phase before I went for my IT was basically practical. As in, I'm boasting enough, as in, to stand on my own that, yeah, I'm an engineer.
I choose to acquire my skill in ITF because I want to be relevant in this welding and fabricating field, so that I can be self-employed in future, then I can start my empire from there.
The ISTC Kano conducts short-term skills training programs in agricultural machinery and equipment maintenance, as well as motor vehicle servicing and maintenance. The center has gradually been upgraded to provide training in modern mechanical, electrical, and electronic services. The ITF Center of Excellence in Jos undertakes brainstorming sessions to produce the manpower training and development modules in over 100 specialized areas. ITF is the only training institution in Nigeria mandated by government to train and develop indigenous skills in such a wide and industry. ITF has the unique advantage of a national spread through its current network of 27 area offices that cover industrial training activities in 36 states of the Federation, including the federal capital, Abuja.
The headquarters formulate policies and the area offices implement these policies in terms of training, administration, and finance. So they are the outlet through which we reach our clients in terms of advisory, in terms of identification of training needs, in terms of implementation of tailor-made training programs. So they are the engine, in fact, the implement of the ITF.
Since inception 38 years ago, ITF has acquired a lot of experience in human resource development. It therefore effectively utilizes this experience in developing and implementing its training programs. ITF has developed sustainable long-term relationships with the organized private sector. This ITF has done by deploying the right balance of direct training intervention and regulation by dedicated and seasoned professionals who are sensitive to the needs and commitments of Nigerian workers. These unique qualities have truly placed ITF as a world-class training institution in Nigeria.
I undertook a tour of the Lagos area where we have about 80% of industries in this country. So I went with the members of the organized private sector. I met their associations, particularly NECA, Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, the Nigerian Manufacturers Association, NASIMA, NASME. I discussed with them and tried to, and requested them to support, the Industrial Training Fund, in its new vision. And since taking over, we have been having a lot of collaboration with them, contact with them. In fact, recently, memorandum of understanding with the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association to train in the vocational and technical skills areas.
Before then, of course, we had not been happy with ITF. That was before 1999, because we felt as private sector, we're contributing to an organization that is not really addressing. But there was a turnaround in 1999, which started with an intensive interaction between us and ITF, through which we were able to identify the needs of the private sector. But that relationship has moved on to a higher level in the past 2-3 years when Dr. Wapmuk came into office. That beyond dialoguing and identifying areas of needs and expectations of the private sector, we've been able to identify concrete things we can do that will really impact meaningfully on this economy. And that's where the subject of promotion of technical and vocational education now comes in. And we're quite happy about the number of initiatives we have put on ground.
Motivated by the support of the organized private sector and the supervising ministry, the ITF has sustained its tempo in training and development nationwide.
We have done studies in cultivation, in processing, and in utilization of rubber, for instance, in Nigeria. We have done preliminary studies on operational prospects and problems of timber processing in Nigeria. We have done skills gaps in banking, insurance, and allied sectors. We have done manpower requirements in the steel industries. We have done performance training by industries. We've carried out surveys to show effectiveness of training that have been deployed. How effective is needful for us to monitor. It's not just enough for ITF to deploy training, but it's good to follow up and determine whether this training is effective or not. In the last couple of years, the ITF has collaborated with NECA, that is Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, and we have undertaken studies on skills gaps and manpower in 17 subsectors of the national economy.
The fund conducts research on manpower trends and industrial training needs to assist in development challenges. In 2007, ITF collaborated with the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association to research on skills gap in the Nigerian economy. It has also carried out a study to appraise the impact of Students' Industrial Work Scheme in the national economy.
We design customized packages for client organizations that deal with issues like process consulting, making systems more cost-effective and efficient. We also deal with issues like profiling systems. We can do career profiling. We can do in-depth studies, diagnostic studies, and a wide range of issues on human resources development.
Between January and October 2008, ITF conducted 50 in-depth diagnostic studies